So it's official. It looks like Microsoft has agreed to acquire ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda. And of course, Bethesda is known to make some big AAA games. And it looks like Microsoft is buying their studio out. And this could be a huge win for Microsoft just due to the fact that if you look at the current state of the Xbox brand, you guys know that Microsoft really doesn't compare to the competition when it comes to first party IPs. That is just the sad truth. You look at what Sony's doing, you look at what Nintendo is doing, and yeah, you can see why there's not too many Xboxes being sold, at least compared to the competition. And this could be a big game changer just because Bethesda Studios is known to make some really big games. I'm talking games like Doom, Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, and many, many more. And those are very big games in the gaming industry. So these may actually become first party IPs on the Xbox. Granted, Microsoft for a while now has been making all their first party IPs not just exclusive to the Xbox brand, but also to PC. And that's something I really never understood just because if you're trying to sell Xboxes and you're trying to get people on board with your console, one of the main ways to get people on board with your console is going to be first party exclusive titles. And if you don't really have any first party exclusive titles, what's really the incentive to jump on board with your brand? Granted, this generation was a little bit different just because Microsoft did come out with the Xbox One X, and the Xbox One X was the most powerful console at the time of release. So if you wanted the best performance or the best looking games period, then you would go over to the Xbox, mainly to play a lot of third party games in the best quality possible. So they had that going for them, but besides that, they really didn't give too many reasons to why you would want an Xbox now that most of their first party IPs are actually on PC. And that's again something I just never understood, because most people, or a lot of people, are going to be like, well, yeah, why would I buy an Xbox when my gaming PC outperforms an Xbox in the first place? So all those first party IPs that Microsoft are trying to sell me on the Xbox are just irrelevant. I might as well play them on my gaming PC in better performance. I'll get a overall better experience with my gaming PC. And yeah, I actually agree with that. And I think most people agree the biggest problem with the Microsoft Xbox to date is the lack of good first-party IPs. They do have some good first-party IPs to their name, but if you compare them to at least what Sony's doing over with the PS4 and now the upcoming PS5, I think Sony really does have it down with all their exclusive games, and that's something that Microsoft really needs to work on, in my opinion, and a lot of people agree with me on that. And with this buyout for ZeniMax Media, which is a parent company of Bethesda, I really do think that they could make these games all exclusive to the Microsoft Xbox. Granted, a lot of these games are probably still going to be cross-platform and still come to the PC, of course, but just the fact, at least on the console side, they could be exclusive to the next Xbox, the Series S and the Series X. I think that is a huge win for Microsoft because, again, this is not just a little studio. This is actually a big studio, and they make some of the best games in the gaming industry. Now, they did say that a lot of these games that are going to be from Bethesda are going to launch on day one on Games Pass, and it really does seem to me, as time goes on, it really does seem that the Xbox Games Pass service is really one of those services that you really need to buy without a doubt. It's coming to the point to where it's like it's not even a necessity anymore. It's pretty much something that you have to buy regardless. It's just something you don't think about because each and every day there's always something new coming to Xbox Games Pass. Xbox Games Pass is getting better. The value's there. It's kind of like, at least if you're on the Microsoft side, it's kind of hard to justify buying games at $60 a piece all the time, unless there's that one game that's not coming to Games Pass like on day one, and you just ultimately cannot wait and you're just too excited for that release and you need to buy it, then go ahead and pull the trigger on a $60 game. But it really does seem like on the Xbox side, Games Pass is going to be the way to go. And they really want you on board with Games Pass as well. That's why when they did this deal, they announced that all these games are possibly coming to the Xbox Game Pass on day one. One game that is already confirmed to come to Games Pass on day one is going to be Space Epic Starfield from Bethesda Studios. That one is coming on day one to Xbox Games Pass. So if you have Games Pass, you'll be able to play that when that launches. And that's actually a really nice thing right there. But yeah, again, it looks like Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media, the company behind games like Fallout and The Elder Scrolls and Doom and many, many other games, because this is a win-win for both that company and Microsoft. This is really going to be a big game changer for the Xbox, in my opinion, and I can't wait to see next generation what Microsoft brings to the table when it comes to the Xbox brand and when it comes to their upcoming consoles. This is going to be a very different or interesting generation for the Microsoft brand and the Xbox. Now, the next one is going to be about the whole PlayStation 5 fiasco, and you probably already know about the PlayStation 5 fiasco, because basically what happened was pre-orders went up immediately for the PS5, and everyone was pretty much mad that a lot of people couldn't get their pre-order in for the PS5, because Sony didn't make the PS5 pre-orders official. They pretty much just were out there in the wild from different retailers, and a lot of people got very frustrated about the whole situation, and honestly, I don't blame them. Why would you randomly just throw out pre-orders randomly when people weren't expecting it? And that means that a lot of people never got a hold of a PS5 pre-order. It looks like Sony did actually apologize for the whole fiasco, so I'm glad for that. And it looks like Sony is trying to make more PlayStation 5 stock, and they're trying to make more pre-orders available to more people. And honestly, that's all you can actually hope for, especially when this situation looks dire, which it looks like the whole situation is going to be turning around in the near future. So that's great. More people will get a hold of pre-orders. Now it is confirmed from different retailers, including Amazon, that PS5 pre-orders may actually not come on the release of the PS5. They may actually come a day late. And honestly, of course, that's not great news, especially if you ordered a PS5. It's kind of like, why would I want my PS5 a day late? Wouldn't I want it on release date so I can play it? Yeah, that is true. But the thing you do have to realize is a lot of the time when you pre-order something, you're never guaranteed to get a pre-order on release date. You can be getting it a day or two after. I know, especially with Amazon, and my experience with Amazon is not a good place to pre-order physical games or physical goods, especially if they're in high demand and they're going to be very popular. You can never trust Amazon specifically. And I've had games actually come a day or two late from Amazon, and I'm like, why did my game come a day or two late, Amazon? That is unexcusable, especially since I paid for my pre-order. That's the whole point of pre-ordering a game. If my game's not going to come on release date, it's kind of like, yeah, I might as well not pre-order a game from Amazon. But it's not just Amazon. It's a lot of other companies. I've been hearing people say, yeah, my Best Buy pre-order has been canceled. My Walmart pre-order has been canceled. Just different sites are canceling pre-orders of the PS5. And honestly, I'm not too surprised about that, because they probably overestimated how many pre-orders they actually had up, so they had to take some back. And granted, they probably don't even know how many PS5s they're actually going to get when it comes to the PS5, so a retailer has no way to know if all those pre-order demands can actually be met until Sony actually sends them all those PS5s. So overall, it's just not a great feeling for customers right now when it comes to the PS5. A lot of people never got a pre-order to begin with, and then a lot of people are getting their pre-order canceled from different retailers on the internet, and this pre-order fiasco from Sony is not looking good at all, but it should be looking a little bit better in the upcoming weeks and the upcoming months for the PS5. Now, the next one on my list is going to be about NVIDIA, because NVIDIA did release a brand new graphics card. They did release the 3080, and honestly, I would say the 3080 is an amazing graphics card. If you have any type of older graphics card, this is like a no-brainer, and it's kind of unfortunate the 2000 series graphics cards were kind of a waste in my opinion and other people's opinion. There was really no reason to upgrade to the 2000 series, and everyone who owns the 2000 series kind of feel like they got ripped off at this very moment, because you look at the price of the 3080 and you look at the performance of the 3080, it kills anything in the 2000 series graphics cards, and that's to be expected, of course, because it is a brand new graphics card. But the thing that makes the 2000 series feel even more like a ripoff is the fact that it never really had an amazing performance to begin with, especially if you compare it to the previous generation before that, the 1000 series graphics cards. The 2000 series cards really didn't bring much to the table in terms of performance, and of course the big thing they granted with the 2000 series, of course, was ray tracing. They're like, yeah, ray tracing is the future, and that is true. Ray tracing is the future. Ray tracing is on PC in full steam now, and then of course with consoles, it is on consoles now with the upcoming PlayStation 5 and Series X and Series S from Microsoft. So yeah, that is a really big feature that everybody in the gaming industry is touting. But back when the 2000 series came out, a lot of people were like, yeah, ray tracing is too new. Not a lot of games use ray tracing, and what we have for ray tracing is not mind-blowing or enough for you to spend for a 2000s graphics card. Now, the whole situation is different, and the 3080 is a card you would want to get, except for there's one problem. Pre-orders are already sold out for the 3080, and this fiasco is the same as the PlayStation 5. When these things went up, everybody bought these cards immediately, and it pissed off everybody. But there is something to note about this situation. Same thing with the PS5. Not everybody who bought these graphics cards and the PlayStation 5 actually bought the tech for themselves. They actually wanted to buy a lot of this stuff to resell as a scalper, and that's something I'm just not really a big fan of. And I agree with most people out there. It's not fair to paying consumers who actually want to use this for themselves, because they don't get a chance to buy it when scalpers are actually going around buying all these different consoles and all these different things around just to resell them at a higher price than what the actual company is selling them for at retail price. And that is flat out a shame, and that's pretty much what we have, especially with the 3080. A lot of people were saying, yeah, it's in high demand, but that's not necessarily the case. We found out recently that so many scalpers are reselling these things for thousands of dollars on eBay, which is just a freaking shame, just because a lot of people don't get a chance to get a 3080. They do have to pay scalper prices, and let's face it, some people are going to pay scalping prices for these brand new 3080s and even the upcoming PS5, which is out of control, honestly. But then again, we don't just have the scalpers to blame. We also have people like ourselves to blame, because so many people support scalping by actually buying a scalped product, which we shouldn't be doing in the first place. For me, I'm a person that never pays for an item over the retail price as long as it's still in production. Once the item goes out of production and I still want it, that's a little bit different, because that's kind of like considering something a collector's item at that very moment. And since you're considering something a collector's item, or they don't sell it in store anymore, you're at the mercy of people. So you have to pay you have to pay a higher price than what it originally came out at, and I'm okay with that. That's to be expected. It's kind of like buying an old product from like years ago. It's valuable and collectible. You have to pay it. But in this situation, that's not the case. They're still going to be selling all these things at retail stores. So to pay even a penny over what the retailer wants for the item in a retail setting just doesn't make sense to me. And the situation is pretty nuts if you think about it, just due to the fact that there is a brand new software that just came out. It's called Bounce Alerts. And what Bounce Alerts actually does, it's a software that actually goes around scalping different websites. And when stock is in stock for all these different websites, they actually buy out all the stock for one retailer. Like, for instance, with the 3080s, I do know on NVIDIA's store, somebody actually got a hold of 42 NVIDIA 3080s, which is absolutely insane. You know they're not going to be using 42 different 3080s. You know that they're going to be reselling them on sites like eBay and other places on the internet to make a pretty high profit. And honestly, as consumers, we should not be supporting this practice. This practice is should be illegal. Honestly, it should be something that's against the laws. Someone needs to do something about this. One person said the best way to actually stop scalpers, if you want to stop scalpers dead in their tracks, is a lot of these different companies on the internet actually have to put something in place like a Kapachi. If you ever use some websites have a Kapachi, and the reason some websites have a Kapachi is they want to make sure you're a real human being, and they don't want you to be somebody like a scalper or like a bot on a website. They want to make sure that you're legitimate, and that's why Kapachis exist. And if you don't know what a Kapachi is, it's basically something that you have to do before you can log in or get access to that website. Like, for instance, it'll say, please type in these numbers on screen. You'll have to type in these numbers on screen. Or, for instance, it'll show you like 6 or 7 pictures, and it'll be like, please click on every box that has a bus in it, and then you'll have to click on all the images with a bus in it. That's pretty much to prevent people who are not humans not access, or they don't get access granted to those websites, and that's primarily why they use Kapachis. But a lot of websites still don't use Kapachis to this day, and if they were going to use Kapachis, or whatever the case may be, I would assume that they would use 2 or 3 layers of Kapachi, and that would kind of stop the situation dead in the tracks. And this thing is just getting really ridiculous as time goes on. Now, the next one is actually going to be about Twitch, because it looks like Twitch is getting a little bit more aggressive with advertisements. At first, I think a couple days ago, Twitch actually activated mid-roll ads to everybody's stream. Usually how it worked before is, if you ever watched a Twitch stream, the only time you would get ads on a Twitch stream would actually be when you actually first enter a stream. When you first click on a stream, you would get ads unless you subscribe to Twitch Turbo, or if you subscribe to that streamer specifically, then you wouldn't get ads. But if you didn't do any of that, you would get ads when you first clicked on their stream, and that was okay. You were used to that. But then later on, Twitch was like, yeah, we don't actually like this, so we're gonna give everybody the option on Twitch to actually play mid-roll ads. And it was always up to the individual streamer to play mid-roll ads if they wanted to play mid-roll ads during their stream. And that is all fine and dandy, because a lot of streamers would give people notice to when they're playing mid-roll ads, and a lot of times a lot of streamers would never just play the mid-roll ads because they felt like it was unnecessary, and honestly, it was bad for their viewership if they had mid-roll ads. So it was kind of like, yeah, let's not actually use those mid-roll ads, or let's only use them when we think we need to take a break. But now Twitch is like, nope, we're going to immediately enable them on everybody's stream regardless. So now when you go to Twitch, you will see mid-roll ads that aren't actually activated by the streamer of the stream. It is going to be activated by Twitch on their side. They already have them set up for everybody on Twitch. And honestly, that's not good, especially when you're on a website that does live content. If you do something like live content, it's not fair that you'll be taken out of the stream to see ads, and these ads are kind of aggressive. You can get like 4, 5, 6, 7 ads. I've seen them before, and honestly, that's not a great feeling to get all these advertisements, especially when you're trying to watch a live stream. These ads could come at the wrong time when you're in the middle of a very big moment in the stream, and then you get taken out of it. The nice thing about the ads, at least when the ads start rolling, I've had seen it to where it does show the stream in the bottom corner of the advertisement, so you can still see the advertisement and still see the stream, but regardless, it cuts off the audio, and then the stream is in a small box on the right side of your screen or left side, and it can still be disruptive, and that's something I'm not a big fan of. I'm, as a person, okay with ads because I understand the use of ads. They pretty much help people pay bills, they help people make money, and they also help the company who is running those ads. They need to get their products out there in the world, and they need, of course, to promote their product, and I'm okay with that, especially if it supports somebody that I really do like. But when there's ads that are actually bothering my enjoyment or bothering my stream or interrupting me, it's just not fair. Think about it. Let's say, for instance, you're watching a regular TV show or a regular Netflix show, and all of a sudden an ad appears right on top of your show. It's actually not fair. You would be mad as a consumer. At least the nice thing is with live TV, they always place ads right in a very good spot where they take a break from the show, so it's not like you're missing anything. But on Twitch, it's different because the streamer just streams for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time, and then if these ads just play randomly, you're going to be missing things in the stream. That's actually not fair. Well, to summarize all this stuff up, it looks like we have a bit of good news. It looks like viewers on Twitch got so mad about this that Twitch actually decided to actually remove mid-roll ads. Now, does this guarantee you'll never see mid-roll ads? No, it doesn't guarantee you'll ever see mid-roll ads. You may still see mid-roll ads in some streamers, especially if they do still use the mid-roll ads, because each individual streamer still has the option to enable mid-roll ads if they want to enable mid-roll ads. The only truly way to solve all this up, of course, again, is going to be paying for a subscription to each individual streamer that you like to watch, or paying for Twitch Turbo, which pretty much eliminates all the advertisements on Twitch with one subscription. I think that's $10 a month, but if you hop around streams a lot, then I would really recommend just going for Twitch Turbo, because it would be cheaper than subscribing to each individual streamer that you really enjoy on Twitch. Just buy Twitch Turbo and call it a day. But yeah, I will agree that this is just not the right way to go, and it is going to turn people off from Twitch if you automatically make this a thing. You're kind of pretty much forcing people to subscribe to Twitch Turbo or subscribe to each individual streamer on Twitch that you want to watch to, and you shouldn't feel like you have to subscribe to each individual streamer or subscribe to anything when you're on these websites. I guess it just hurts a little bit more just due to the fact that it's live content. It's not the same thing as YouTube, and it's not the same thing as cable TV where the ads are placed correctly. Even on YouTube, they may be in the middle of your video, but at least that video is not a live video. So if you get an ad, you're not missing anything, because it will just take you back to that video where you left off. So it's not really a big deal. And that's why a lot of people are mad about this, including me myself. So I'm glad that they're going to stop being as aggressive on the ad side when it comes to Twitch, because I think a lot of people enjoy Twitch, and you don't want to piss off your user base on Twitch. So I'm glad that they're probably going to cancel this, to be honest. And I'm not a fan of when companies feel like they need to do something that really is unnecessary. Now, the next one on my list is actually about the Nintendo 3DS, because it looks like, as of right now, the 3DS is officially canceled or officially dead from Nintendo, because Nintendo officially made a statement recently that did clarify that they are going to stop production of the 3DS. And honestly, I don't think anybody's surprised about their decision, just due to the fact that if you look at the 3DS hasn't had games for a couple of years now. It's pretty much dead. Nobody's talking about the 3DS. The 3DS has been on the market for a very long time. We already have the Switch, of course, and the Switch is doing extremely well. So there's no reason to keep the 3DS around. Usually, anytime Nintendo makes a brand new console, they always want to justify the last console they made by saying, yeah, we'll keep it in production and we'll keep it alongside our current gaming hardware. But that's due to the fact that they don't know how well their current gaming hardware is actually going to do on the market. So they're like, yeah, we have to keep these side by side. But we knew it was only a matter of time until Nintendo actually discontinued the 3DS. And it's okay they discontinue it because they sold around 70 something million units of the 3DS. On top of that, they made a lot of game sales. It's okay they discontinued this. They did state alongside the discontinuation of the 3DS, however, they are gonna still keep the eShop up for many, many years to come. Now, how many years is the 3DS eShop going to stay in business? It's hard to tell from a company like Nintendo, especially if you look at their past history with their online services. I do know from any company in the game industry, Nintendo is always the first one to chop all their online services. They've already did it with things like the DSi and the Wii from a long time ago, and that's not great news. So just because they said they're going to keep the 3DS eShop up for a very long time, there's no guarantee how much longer they're going to keep this up. And I wish they wouldn't discontinue their services because there are some games that are exclusive to these shops that you just can't get anywhere. And sometimes you need to re-download games that you may have deleted because sometimes your games get corrupted or you accidentally delete them or whatever the case may be. And honestly, it's just not fair to a lot of consumers who paid their hard-earned dollar for all these games that you're just going to discontinue their services for that product. But I understand it costs money to run these services, and it's just a waste of time to run these shops, especially when most people don't use these shops anymore. I understand that, but just due to the fact that other companies aren't shutting their services down that early, and they're still allowing people to play games online, they're still allowing people to download software that they paid their hard-earned money for on other platforms. To me, it kind of seems like a robbery to shut these services down, whether people use them or not, because sometimes there are still people who do sign in to these services for whatever the case may be. But that's what Nintendo claims, so we can only go off of what Nintendo actually claims here. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.